much, everyone, for being here. I'm really nervous, so I'm just going to jump right in. All right. Why is it so hard to use my voice? When it comes out, why does it shake? It trembles and rumbles and allows itself to break. And there, I feel the pieces falling throughout my chest, where they end up in my belly and turn to others' behest. Rather than words and wonders spewing forth with zest, I'm more often left silent, my feelings and speech oppressed by my own hesitant and insecure nature. Instead of a booming and inspired holler, my voice comes out stunted, a pathetic whisper. Each syllable spoken in length and shivers, worlds swirl together, whirlpool inwards. Regret fills me, my mind it simmers. Think twice and again, I each year jet bruised again, or injured? Self-editing revealing only glimpses of my truth. It's like, haha, jinx, you're it. Silenced, but shit, I'm all out of coke. The clouds build between my ears, stopping my thoughts from passing through without resistance. On days like these, it's better to just lay back and let the currents of the monsoon wind swell in your chest, toss you on your back so you can see the world from a whole new perspective. That of the snakes who pass through the sharpest grasses on their tender bellies, stopping only for a drink, but ultimately admiring the new apples and breathing in the scent of the wet breeze. So get down low, start on your knees, allow your clothing to take on the presence of dirt and leaves as you let yourself have peace from our pervasive need to feel we aren't worth anything without productivity. Ashes in the front room, thorns in the kitchen, water on the bathroom floor. We keep the bed clean by airing our dirty laundry. And you know, I'm always hungry, and thus always eating. It's a constant give and take, and although my anxiety likes to make me feel like these repetitive motions are unnecessary, I ask, do I act upon anything? I wonder, yet I know well the defeating answer. I can hardly move, let alone leap towards my destiny, because I'm fearful of getting snagged along the way, as something tells me there will be brambles and thorn-covered branches keeping me from passing through the tunnel that surely leads to new scenery, or at the very least, the other side of the same thing. I see the bread growing stale upon the table, yet I do not act to prevent the progression, the slow and gentle hardening, the reverse transformation of things, allowing our efforts to float belly up with only a gentle nudging of concern. Tomorrow, 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 I will keep saying it to myself without consideration of the oncoming sorrow that follows someone who doesn't live in the present, but always looks forward to tomorrow. This one's entitled, One Moment. You tell me my behavior is frightening. Don't consider that I'm only just surviving. Biting has always been in my nature since I was my grandmother, and now it arises once again in my sister's daughter. Her long dark hair a reminder of our unwillingness to surrender to a world that keeps us fighting, the grip of man upon our throats and upon our shoulders. An earnest attempt to keep us from speaking and perhaps even breathing. At times we defy absolutely everything that surmounts your need for me to abide to your comforts, rather than considering mine for even one moment. 1 second is enough for you to kill us, and yet we give you minutes, days, years of our lives. Some foolish endeavor to trade a man you despise for the person of your wonder, although in the back of your mind you know there is no hope with this creature by your side. Yet fear keeps you tethered by the collar, until your throat turns an unusual purple color, like a smoky sunrise edging over that crisp, laundered collar that arcs over your aching shoulder from all the time you spent on your side shedding tears over wasted time. These colors are a reminder of the flavor that comes bursting forth so rapidly I cannot help but weep, as it is an assault upon my senses. To feel you, to see you, to let you wholly contemplate within me, as you sit in the depths of my belly and ferment into bitter wine that leaves me feeling dizzy at the thought of afterwards. I wonder silently if there will be a moment when you might not be beside me, because you had so often told me my rough edges have caught you far too many times, leaving you red, itching from my many little spines that settle beneath your skin and make you wonder if I'm really worth it. So I savor and release into these tender moments, so few, when you smile and draw me closer, because I realize that they won't last forever. Like the bunches of grapes that hang heavy only to surrender to the pecking of the birds, of uncertainty, which take even unripe fruit in greedy, thrashing bites and leave behind stems without any use. Like all the times I forgot to be stronger than my need to feel weaker than the breeze, which keeps throwing me on my side and has me questioning my place in life, as though I am merely useless baggage, rather than a living, breathing human. Admittedly, I am vile luggage at times, but this doesn't mean I don't deserve to be loved. I do. Idealized suicide hides behind the sunniest disposition. And frankly, it's no surprise, because I've been taught all my life that it's the right thing to hide any feelings that make you want to cry. All these things pent up inside eventually come boiling over. And I think this is a thing with which we're all familiar. I decided a few years ago that I'd never again hide those persistent feelings. They gnaw at my insides, like the tasteless rind of a watermelon chewed down to the white and bitter green. Because sometimes I truly forget what it's like to be serene. And in those moments, the only release are those words, those pent up, shitty feelings. And I can't believe what it's done for my clarity, my confidence, and my insides, to be free of all those heavy burdens. Those moments that I've despised but carried with me endlessly, leaving deep footprints everywhere I go, but now I tread more lightly, shedding away one by one with honesty. Because words are impactful, and actions, they mean more, because doing nothing is crucial when you're self-destructing. Do you remember what it feels like to be happy? I do. I know well now, so thoroughly. And it was something I had never even seen. But now it's mine and I'm not letting go. I'm selfish and I'm hungry, and I've got a full plate, a garden green and blossoming. In here, always. And in those moments when I feel alone, and everything starts to break down and it turns black and I want to die, it's the happiest sadness I've ever felt in my life. Desperation? Yeah, right. I've got my eyes on the prize, and I know it's cliche to say, but I've wiped clean my heart's clouded eyes, just so I can know exactly what it is that's been placed in front of me. I sharpen my fangs, and I won't let anything get too close to me that's not already close to me, because I've been in love once or twice, or at least it really felt like it. But when you're chewed up and left on the floor, you start to question if that's what love is really meant to be. Because it doesn't sound like those fairy tales you hear when you're a little girl. You know? Those ones that make you think a princess is all there is to be. Stepped on. And instead, you're garbage on the floor. And you're told you won't be coddled anymore when you're begging to be loved just once more. But that's all in the past now, you see. It's my paved streets behind me, and I'm on to much brighter things now. I often find myself lost in the sublime scent of apricot blossoms at the most unexpected times. Those moments when my mind is heavy with fretful thoughts of things considered to be elements of a normal life. I'm stuck dwelling on squandered money, regretting past things I have no hope of ever changing, until suddenly I'm transported back into reality by the palpable symphonic vibration of bees scattered among the sweet-smelling blossoms and the tiny, tender leaves that emerge newly at the start of spring. They're letting off a scent so intoxicating that it captivates the very breath within me. A parent from my unintended gasp that escapes swiftly, surprising me suddenly as I'm lost to the throes of childhood desire. The gap-toothed little girl with clay-battered knees digging for worms in the soft, loamy soil. Yet another me who shrieks with delight any time a new flower opens its eyes and greets the world for the first time. These flowers of later fruit both cleanse and rejuvenate my mind with their delicate, invisible lace, which becomes intertwined throughout me, entering first through my olfactory system, arising from the ventricles of my heart and plummeting deep into my belly until they emerge from my bowels and softly lift me from the mire of my own creation, my uncanny ability to focus on everything that is bad around me when I'm surrounded completely by beauty. I'm reminded I have to ask myself each morning what it is I intend to do. As I watch the colors of the morning sky creep up the wall of my bedroom and bring color to everything that was once showered in darkness. It's important to be mindful, to consider. It's something we often forget to do. We don't put any thought behind our actions. We just move. And in a way, it's beautiful, like a plant seeking the sunlight, turning its face naturally to where the warmth is. But in another, it can be reckless. You can grow yourself right off of a cliff. So because we can, it's important to consider, to look, before we crush anything, including ourselves. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Chantal.
My abuelita's home sat directly across from the ocean, in a small dingy alleyway that always smelled like masa from the tortilleria on the main road. One morning, as we waited in line for our tortillas, watching the cheerful, round-bottomed women pressing the masa, one after another, my mother told me stories of her meager childhood. She spoke of the hurricanes that would come in and wash away their furniture, leaving them with even less than before. She spoke of climbing her back fence, where her mother would keep parakeets and grow wild carrots, so she could eat from the guava tree that grew in her neighbor's yard. She spoke of the trouble she saw and the trouble she caused. She spoke of the day her father left, with intent never to return. It could have been different, she says. Words with layers upon layers of meaning I might always work to decipher. And that night, we wandered to the statue a few paces from my abuelita's quaint home alongside the sea. The sailor and the mermaid, a pair of salt-kissed marble and locked in eternal embrace. And there we caught a couple kissing beneath the stars. We all laughed and shared a brief moment of acceptance for those moments that leave us feeling vulnerable. The world is vast and full of people, all types of people, who love openly and laugh freely and extend only solidarity, isn't it? No. But what my mother didn't realize at the time was that those things that attempt to break us, those significant moments that at best remold us, and at worst morph into things that we fear, they only make us stronger. Got a few more for you. I'm gonna find a place for myself. Somewhere I don't feel so lost or forgotten. Or, no wait, is it seen? I don't know. But whatever it is, that's where I'm going. Each step feels difficult and uncertain, and I'm drawn to the overgrowth and the unfamiliar because it feels so much less confining than the common, the manicured, the set right before you. And you know, it makes me want to scream when I imagine myself as any other being, in any situation more normal. I realize with each step I've taken. This road seems like it's going to last forever, but really the journey is where I am going, because my destination isn't a place, but rather an exercise in doing something meaningful. One foot in front of the other. Stepping not gingerly, no, but with ginger, with spice and spark and flavor, and healing that is unique to only me. So I'll bathe myself in it to remind me with each step of my journey that self-love is a practice in gratitude-seeking. Be it from the sky or the grass or the chittering of the leaves, let them speak to you and call back with your own joyous singing, even when you feel hollow, beaten down, or unseen. Because the journey isn't a burden, no. It's only as fun as you make it, like a bumpy ride in an old pickup truck. No matter where you go, just remember where you came from. I collect my pieces regularly into a form which might be perceived as familiar or inviting because it seems whole rather than fragmented. To do so, I take all of the burning questions and I douse them in indifference, which I've collected from years and years of questionable downpours, shed for myself at times, but at others over something meaningless. But really, who can tell? A coat of red lipstick, shiny straight hair, and a black dress, loose or clingy, it doesn't matter. There isn't a soul any wiser. And I wonder if we all share this feeling, this curiosity which leaves us longing to be really known rather than artificially seen. Judged based on the patterns in our clothing and the number of tangles we manage to keep hidden in our hair, although really our guts are twisted. I smile anyway, because it isn't worth explaining for those who are a little more than voyeurs. Because even if they care, I don't feel an obligation to let myself be seen fully. It's kind of funny, because I know I'm committed to my own lonesome obscuring. You know, as a child, I never realized life was made up of so many lonesome islands. Folks left to their own parcels, wrapped individual without intent of sharing or speaking, rather than strung together like little popcorn garlands. And that thread held between your fingers is like the path between our lands. It's cut, tied, and divided, making it difficult to nestle up against each other and hear your neighbors sing. And you know, life, I've noticed, is a continuous cycle of hunger, struggle, and wonder. It's like whether you're taking the first bite or being helplessly nibbled on, we always fall on one side or the other in this eternal fight between prey and predator. I find myself shamelessly cheering for both sides, because in this world we need the bees as much as we need the spiders. But let me admit it here and now, I'd prefer it if things were more like a field of vibrant wildflowers. Could you imagine it? Each bright, expansive blossom adding to the beauty of the next and standing together, strong against the howling, windy weather. It's funny that it takes turning over your soil to understand loving, allowing room for air and oh, so many seeds to impart their knowledge, their color, their life, and their beauty. I guess it's a reminder of why we're all here. Because together, our voices can be heard and our talents uplifted. We can really see one another. You just have to plant the seed. I have, let's see, I think 3 more. They're not very long, and let's get to it. I'm kaleidoscopic. An intricate tapestry finely woven from rainbow fibers made up of every moment and every being that has had a powerful effect upon me, though often understated. Hey, you ever notice how those dreamy sunsets look hand-painted? Or how the clouds seem so genuine, somehow so candid in their expressions? You know, when I hear the doves cooing, I'm reminded of my father. Because for all his wiles and all his woes, he chose the color turquoise for the door. And for the handle, he hung up a smooth little antler. He did it without a second gander, not realizing the unwitting transfer of magic upon any who may enter. Curled up in front of the television, legs crossed, as I fiddled with my toes, I paid no mind to the folks who entered my home. My eyes followed along, completely preoccupied by the fairies of Fantasia. They kept me hypnotized. I admired their rhythmic flight as they imbued the world around them without compromise, with a sense of strong and growing delight, as each flick of their little wands brings about another moment of glittering dewdrop splendor. Spiderweb constellations glisten, and I feel the admiration of a lover. Oh, how lovingly that image is rendered. Brilliant hues blended so gently I hear them whisper. Romantic brushstrokes shout from deep within their bellies with the passion of a wax-sealed love letter. I'm overcome with emotions and I shudder. My imagination pounds with the fury of a distant wartime drummer. And these familiar thoughts are draped upon me like a cloak of nostalgia because as my age advances, so do my options harden. Still yet, I'm merely a child, ill-adept at procuring cheddar, rather left at the mercy of humanity's treasures. I am an artist. I give voice to my emotions. A gift bestowed upon me by genetics likely, and strengthened by my own curiosity. I am my own huckleberry, surely, but when do I reach my time of reckoning? I think the answer lies within seeing myself honestly. And it took me a while to realize what others gain when they drink from me. Because my artworks are better described as love potions anyway. A mixture of rainbow splendor and vulnerability, though I'll admit, I often mistook my efforts as ineffectuality. To battle such growing insecurities, I began to hide magenta in absolutely everything. Even in plain sight atop my own head. And when I look in the mirror, I feel like myself again. Because I was born brunette, but I can be anything. There's beauty in being a woman who can't help but gaze back defiantly when the world questions her standards, her body, the way she speaks or loves or eats or wears her clothing. Because it means she can't help holding herself to her own standards, rather than allowing the shallow mindsets of judgmental others to leave their mark upon her. So spread your presence, darling. Take up space beside your mother, because the earth will love you better and like none other. So let your voice escape, cracking through the air like thunder. Electric waves of divine wonder, that expansive beauty of feminine splendor, cleanse the world of constant plunder. So eat the apple, nourish your hunger, and then reach over and tell your sister that you love her. Here's my final poem, and I just really want all of you to take this one home with you. Fully. Look to the flowers for reprieve from the ache of everything, like the sharpened words or hateful questioning which arose not from a place of curiosity, no, but rather from a silhouette that they've preconceived, overlaid upon you and began their clawing, their biting, their chewing. But please, forget those things, because the scars aren't bleeding, no longer bleeding. Now they're memories, and what stands before you is so fucking beautiful, so ferociously palpable, that it would do it dishonor not to give it whatever it desires. Be it the whole of your body or the very breath within you, a moan, the calling of its name, a gentle stroke from your wanting finger, the ache of hunger in your eyes, and ultimately no release for your desire to become one, or at least devour this lovely being that stands before you, unashamed to be on display fully, even if this means causing you to remember how badly you wish you could stop. Plant yourself within the soil and let yourself arise when you are ready, washed in silks of many colors and dusted gently with the earth and the weather, and concerned with one thing only. The calling of the sunlight that asks you, please, don't fear what you're feeling. The weight only adds to your beauty. Let yourself be on display fully.